Spider-Man's back in the MCU, people! It's happening, guys. It's official. Last time I was on Movie Talk yesterday. Last time I was on Movie Talk, I was like, nah, it's still public negotiations. It's still definitely public negotiations. It's weird. When I learned the news this morning, I was happy. I was excited. And I was also like, yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah, that's pretty much. I did not experience a surprise state. I was just like, oh, this soon, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of.
I mean, there's a lot to cover here. Apparently, Kevin Feige isn't too busy to produce another Spider-Man film, like how the person at Sony said. And is apparently not too busy to do another Star Wars movie.
They'll just say whatever now.
Yeah.
Like, especially when it comes to negotiations and things like these, I feel like they'll just say anything to us, the public.
All of them, Tom Holland included. Everyone just saying what they gotta say in the meantime. So Variety broke this news, and then the first bit of story is Marvel and Disney will receive a roughly 25% of the profit, which is a good negotiation. You know, they said, we want 50. We want 50%. And then what you always do is you aim high, so that way they meet you somewhere in the middle.
Does this mean they're going to fund 25% of this movie now?
No, there's no co-financing, which is smart because that still gives Sony ownership over Spider-Man. I mean, the merchandise deal still stands with Marvel, as far as from what I understand. But in terms of the movie property themselves, they still belong to Sony. This is no official update or word necessarily on does this mean Spider-Man can cross into Venom now? Because there's a quote by Feige which sounded very interesting to me. He said, "I am thrilled that Spider-Man's journey in the MCU will continue, and I and all of us at Marvel Studios are very excited that we get to keep working on it. Spider-Man is a powerful icon and hero whose story crosses all ages and audiences across the globe. He also happens to be the only hero with the superpower to cross cinematic universes. So as Sony continues to develop their own Spideyverse, you never know what surprises the future might hold." Because there was that talk early on when this news was first breaking about how Marvel wanted a say in the extended Spider-Verse. Because this deal is nowhere near as long as the initial deal when they first got Spider-Man. The deal is only for one more Spider-Man film and one more appearance in a Marvel Phase 4 movie. So that's what they got sold so far. So it's like a short-term deal, short-term negotiation.
So as not to wreck everything we just set up. Yeah.
So it kind of makes you go, is it a short deal because they want to be able to conclude the Home trilogy, make a Home Landing trilogy, you know? Is that what they're trying to do? Or is it to, you know, figure this longer deal out over the next couple of years? Because they already have a release date in mind for this, which I thought was pretty cool to find out. July 16th, 2021. That's one day after Wizards of Waverly Place's David Henry's birthday.
Hey.
Yeah, so he's going to have a great birthday weekend.
He's going to be right there with Spider-Man on Drew's.
They definitely already had their Spider-Man 3 movie in mind. And either way, this is good. I think this is good for us on the audience perspective of things. I think they might probably conclude it in a way where it could be a little open-ended. Depending on, you know, how negotiations go over the next couple of years. Actually, next, like, year and a half, because they still got to film and put it in post and all these things. So depending on how negotiations go, I imagine it'll probably end in a way where this could be the ending of it, or, no, we figured out a deal and we're going to keep Spider-Man around even longer.
Well, I guess I would be kind of surprised if, some other subsequent deals didn't come out of this, because I think the main message of this whole debacle has been, you open that door and put Spider-Man into the greater MCU, and I don't think anyone's ever going to go quietly into just like, well, we got our third movie and Sony, just take it back now. Like, I just don't ever imagine that the outcry of fans has been so loud, and I'm sure that the message to both Sony and Marvel has become very clear that people want these characters together. So I would not at all be surprised if there was a subsequent deal. And weirdly, I don't remember which site it was, but one of the headlines I was reading said that basically it insinuated, based on this quote perhaps, that they're going to see Spider-Man in their own Sony movies too, because you have Morbius and Venom. And also, I mean, I now I'm just speculating, but because you have so many characters scattered across so many things, this could potentially help, because there are other characters like Ghost Rider and stuff who have like team up potential potentials with characters like Morbius.
Sure.
That, you know, could become possible. Like, I feel like this Spider-Man thing is a linchpin to potentially broadening out the universe if they can just figure out that money. It's like the money is the one thing that seems to be holding everything up.
Well, I don't think Marvel and Sony can come to an agreement on Tom Holland crossing over into the, like, let's say that Tom Holland can still be in the MCU. I don't think Marvel will agree to allowing Tom Holland to cross into the other Spider-Verse films like Venom, Morbius, Madam Web, into any of those characters unless they can get a say in those extended Spider-Verse movies as well, because they really do care about consistency with their characters and making sure whatever they do with the character of the Tom Holland portrayal in the Spider-Verse doesn't mess with the continuation they put in their MCU movies. So that's why I think when all this started initially breaking a while ago, that they were pursuing to try to get a little bit of say or control over the extended Spider-Verse conundrum. But yeah, I mean, this is exciting news. This is cool. It's what we expected. I think either way it's good, because I think it would be wise to make like their Spider-Man trilogy within the MCU, and then he's going to do whatever appearance in another Marvel movie. I'm pretty sure the word is that he is going to be the new lead in the Black Panther 2 movie. And potentially crossover and steal the show in the Shang-Chi movie.
Yeah, definitely. He's just going to jump into all those new phase films.
Anything with an ethnically diverse cast, non-white cast, you got to put Tom Holland in there.
There's not enough white actors in those
because
movies.
Disney is showing how progressive they are, and I agree with these statements. But you still need a white guy to lead it all. But yeah, I mean, there's like other Spider-Man news that I've been hearing about. Madam Web movie, Cassandra Webb. I barely remember. I think she was in the animated series at one point. Like, I saw an image. I'm like, I've definitely seen this character in motion before. As it reports here, usually depicted as an elderly blind woman suffering from a chronic neuromuscular disease that makes it difficult to move and breathe. And as such, she's connected to a life support system that looks like a spider web. A clairvoyant character, precognitive abilities, and once helped Spider-Man find a kidnapped victim. That comes off the heels of a Collider exclusive report by, I think, Jeffrey Snyder that I found this morning when I was gathering info on this story. And, you know, they got the Morbid movie and the Morbius movie coming up. They got the Venom 2 movie swinging into production right now.
I see what you did.
So they got a lot of things going on with Spider-Man, but the good news is that, you know, Spider-Man is back in the MCU. I don't know, what would be your main theory here, though? Do you think they're prepping to extend negotiations and make the other things they wanted to sort out, you know,
yes,
figure it out over time?
Yes, I think that's what they're going to do. I feel like they needed some kind of fix to avert crisis in the nearest future, because I'm sure that even though there's not a Spider-Man movie announced for Phase 4 or whatever, you know, they still probably had Spider-Man related plans. You saw
the 2021 movie would be Phase 4, wouldn't it?
Because
their phases last like 3 years.
I don't have a great indicator for what marks a phase. I just know that it wasn't listed on their Phase 4 chart at Comic-Con. So I feel like to avert immediate crisis, they needed to come up with some kind of deal that works in the interim, that addresses the stuff that happens in that post-credit scene from Spider-Man Far From Home that clearly indicates this story is not done. And then, I think this is just kind of to buy time to work out a more long-term and a more substantial deal for Spider-Man.
Yeah, man. I mean, Kathleen Kennedy and Amy Pascal, the two most respected female producers in Hollywood. Variety reports, Pascal was equally euphoric in her statement. "This is terrific! Peter Parker's story took a dramatic turn in Far From Home, and I could not be happier. We will all be working together as we see where his journey goes." Basically, I am freaking relieved right now.
Yeah, definitely. I think
because that cliffhanger, oh man, put us in quite a conundrum here. If they didn't have such a cliffhanger, I don't think they would have been as freaked out about how to handle this. And CCO for Sony said, "We have had a great collaboration over the last 4 years, and our mutual desire to continue was equal to that of the many fans. We are delighted to be moving forward together." I'm waiting for the president of Sony Pictures, the guy who was like, Kevin Feige didn't do all the work. I want to hear his statement. I want to know what he has to say about this.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, guys, so you're relieved about the news. Were you glad that Spider-Man might just be able to continue in Sony and be like, oh, we don't have to worry about all these MCU references? Or are you, relieved that he's finally back? Comment below. You guys can subscribe to The Real Rejects. Click that notification bell. You can check us out on Patreon, where we do weekly Q&As, TV show reactions, stream-alongs for many shows, sync up. Some shows have reaction highlights included, so you don't have to worry about that. And he does music video coverage weekly. Catch you guys.